What is going on, everyone? I'm Jorge Mateo. Welcome to Canine Conversions podcast, episode 3, where we bring dog trainers, business owners, and entrepreneurs to this podcast. Today, we have a special guest. His name is Cody Axthelm from Gun Go Dog Training. Welcome, Cody.
Yeah, what's up? It's good to meet you.
Nice to have you, brother. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I gotta be honest, this is my first time being on a podcast, so I'm pretty stoked.
Nice. Yeah, this is, I've been to 5 so far, and every time it does get better, but it's definitely new to me. But it's
Yeah.
fun. It's fun. We can have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So
So what's on the agenda?
Sweet. Awesome. So one of the ways I like to start this off is I want people to know your journey. You're a dog trainer. You are a very respected dog trainer. I see your reviews on Google. There's definitely one of the best reviews I've ever seen. So I know that you're good at what you do. So can you just tell us a little bit about how you guys started as a dog trainer?
Sure. Yeah, you want the full story?
Full story, brother. Hey, get the full story, bro, from the very beginning.
We got some time, yeah?
Yeah, we got time. We got plenty of time.
So yeah, my name is Cody Axthelm. I live in Central Washington State, and I'm the owner and founder of Gung Ho Dog Training. We started in 2018 and have been doing in-person training as well as virtual online training and coaching. And yeah, I'm super excited to just kind of share the journey with you in your
Excited.
audience. I'm just stoked to be here. Thanks for having me on. This is really
Of
exciting.
course. No, of course,
So
definitely.
yeah, so if I start from like square one, it really is like before I was born, my mom started breeding Labradors.
Okay.
And so I
Nice.
was like, I was born into a family with dogs. Like
Mhm.
I didn't have the option.
Mhm.
And I'm stoked about that too, because dogs have been a part of my life my whole entire life, and I've been around them. I can't really imagine life without dogs. I do think that they are a gift and that they're here for a reason, and the bond that humans and canines share with one another is something that's really special, and there's a lot of depth to it that I keep revealing. It's continues to be revealed to me as I work more and more with dogs, that there's a level of depth to the relationship that it just continues to surprise me, and it changes my life, and it changes other people's lives, and so that's really cool. I got my first dog when I was 8 years old,
Mhm. Young.
and I got to pick him out. His name was Midnight. He's a black Labrador, and
Nice.
there was a group of puppies, and
Mhm.
breeder had like bandanas on all of them, and I just sat down like a little ways away, and this puppy just came running over to me and jumped in my lap, and I was like, okay, I made my choice. Really, he made the choice. He came
Yeah,
running to
yeah.
me. So yeah, it gave me some responsibility at a pretty young age to take care of the dog, and I had to feed him and kind of just take care of him.
Mhm.
And he just gave unconditional love. Like, he was just always stoked to see me when I would come home from school. He would go everywhere with me. Anytime like I was outside, he just followed me around. Like, we had just a solid bond.
That's awesome.
And looking back, like, he really helped a lot with like emotional regulation
Mhm.
during times when it was like really hard. Um,
Mhm.
my parents got divorced when I was younger, and that process was super painful, but Midnight was there for me
Mhm.
through all that. I don't know if he knew what was going on, but like, he was a huge help. I went
I
through
do honestly think that dogs know what's going on. Like they feel some sort of like distress or something, like something's off, and they're more. So I do think that.
for sure. And they're in tune with a lot more than we know.
Mhm.
Yeah, knowing what I know now and their senses, like, it's amazing. So yeah, went through some relationship breakups. Midnight was there. As a young kid, I was like riding my bike, and it was maybe like half a block away from our house, and
Mhm.
this dog came running out and actually attacked me.
Whoa.
And Midnight came running from the house and like interrupted it and like took that dog down and like
Mhm.
basically saved me. I didn't ask him to do that, but that was an eye-opening experience for me for sure. It was like, wow, like, he really cares about me.
And how old was Midnight when this happened? How old were you?
I don't remember like the exact like age. So I got him when I was at 8. I would guess it was probably around like when I was 10 years old.
Okay, okay.
I was 10 and he was probably 2, you
Hmm.
know, still like a younger dog, but and he was a stud dog. We used him for breeding. So I had like some revenue that came in from that.
Hmm.
And yeah, I broke my back when I was in college, with snowboarding, and I had to recover, basically like lay on my back. And um, right around that time, uh, that's when I lost Midnight too. And uh, it was tough. Like, it was heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Yeah, like during that time of just healing, it
Hmm.
gave me a lot of time to like process.
Hmm.
And there was a lot of like personal stuff, spiritual growth and stuff that happened during that like healing from my back. And but another thing that I processed at that time was like Midnight's life. And I realized that like he gave a lot to me, but I
Hmm.
didn't really give much back to him, like as much as I could have. And I
Hmm.
actually felt like pretty guilty about that.
Hmm.
I kind of made an agreement with myself that if I got another dog, I would do my best to like train that dog well. Because Midnight
Yeah.
had all the behavioral like stuff. I mean, he would
Hmm.
jump on people, and that I didn't know what to do. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
I loved him, but I would get super frustrated with him because it's like, why doesn't this dog listen to me? And we just like put him outside, instead
Hmm.
of like working with him. So,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
yeah, that wasn't like fair to him really. So it took me a while. It was several years before I got my next dog, and I got married. And then it was shortly after that that my mom called and said like, hey, we have a puppy left, and it's actually like a descendant of Midnight.
Hmm.
Do you want him? And so it took us, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes. And then we were like, yeah, let's do it. And so that's when we got Chief. So
Hmm.
Chief's 3 or 4 generations down from Midnight, which is pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah. And we got Chief, and that's when I really got into training, because I was like, I really want to like do this well. And so I started reading books, I started listening to podcasts, started watching YouTube videos, started talking to other trainers. I really tried to just gain as much knowledge as I could.
Mhm.
And the first thing that I did with Midnight was train him to shed hunt. Do you
Okay.
know what that is?
No, I was gonna say if you can elaborate more on what that is.
Yeah. So shed hunting, a lot of people think of sheds like a building, but a
Mhm.
shed is an antler from a deer. Sorry, a shed is an antler from a deer or an elk that has fallen off of their head.
Uh-huh.
So once a year, deer and elk, they lose their antlers, and those are called sheds.
Gotcha.
And people will use them for different things. They'll make furniture out of them. You can cut them up for like dog chew toys. And
So Chief would find these already like on the ground, or like when you mean like shed hunting, like
yeah,
does
so
that mean that he would like find them ones already off, or like they're barely falling off from like the deer? Like how does that look like?
Yeah, so we lived on a ranch,
Mhm.
and it was 100,000 acres
Well,
that was like managed by the ranch,
mhm.
like 64,000 acres that was owned. But there was a ton of elk herds and deer herds that were on the property. And
Mhm.
so they would drop their sheds, and then they would just be all over the place. And so
Oh, gotcha.
we'd go hiking, and I'd send him off, and he'd be running around, and we'd be looking with binoculars, and either he would find something and then he'd bring it back to me, or I would see something in the distance with the binoculars, and
Hmm.
then I line Chief up, and it's called casting. So I would line him up, and then I'd send him out, and he'd run out on a straight line, and then I'd whistle, and he'd turn around and sit down and look at me. And then I'd tell him which way to go with my hands. I'd either
That's
send him
cool.
right over, or left over, or I'd send him back.
Yeah, yeah.
He'd go out there. I mean, these retrievers, they can go hundreds and hundreds of yards to do this.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know the exact like distance that I got him to, but definitely like 100 yards
Yeah,
plus. And I'd send him out there, and then he'd find the shed, and then he'd bring it all the way back to me.
that's cool. That
Yeah,
is cool.
it was a lot of fun. it was a lot of fun, and that turned into just a passion for training as well. Like, we went into obedience after that, so I just started to train him, like, to heel and to sit and to down and to do different things around the house and, like, get me a soda out of the fridge and, like, stuff like
No
that.
way, no way. Really? You know how to do that?
But yeah, I got a video I could show you.
That is awesome. I
Yeah,
always dream like, yeah, get my dog to give me a beer,
yeah, it's
from
totally
the fridge.
doable.
That is cool.
And what kinda you have a retriever?
Yeah, I have a golden retriever.
Yeah, and it's the white
Yeah,
kind.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the English cream.
Okay. How old is
He's, he turned 2 in November. He turned 2 in November. I got him when he was a little so the story behind that is that I proposed to my wife with that dog. So, yeah, yeah, so golden retrievers were like her dream dog and the dog that she's always wanted. So that's like the first dog that I've ever like bought, because all of them had been like, just getting them from the adoption center. And this one was the first time that like I bought a dog and it was more for her. So yeah, she's not into jewelry or anything like that. So I just got her an English cream golden retriever. So that's like the story behind that. And I got him in. So I'm in Miami, and I got him in Los Angeles. My family's like an hour and a half from Los Angeles, and I had to ask them for the favor to pick him up and just kind of keep him in their house for like a month until I went over there and proposed over there.
nice. That's
Yeah, yeah.
awesome. Yeah, a strong, like, yeah, strong emotional connection there too for both of you.
Hmm.
Yeah, so, I said it was called casting when you're sending the dog out.
Hmm.
It's a little bit there's casting and handling, so there's, like, some technicality there, but handling is more like I'm gonna control, like, every little step that you make,
Hmm.
and then casting is more like this direction and that direction, the dog's, like, still free to hunt on. And then you can have a command as well of like, "Okay, stop and use your nose," and just start searching right there.
Yeah, yeah.
And at that those distances, it's all, like, whistle work.
Okay. And was it tough to, because you said that was like the first sort of like training you did, right? And then after that, that's when you
First thing I focused on.
gotcha. How was the process? Was it like long? Was it something that was pretty easy to do? Like how did that look like?
Yeah, it was, I would say a year and a half, like,
Okay.
of training, like, from when he was, like, young to, like, he was a year and a half year old.
Hmm.
At a year and a half, he was, like, doing some great retrieves, and so we haven't kept on up on it since we moved
Hmm.
away from the ranch, so he's still crazy about sheds, it's just,
Uh-huh.
we've, like, traveled and everything. After the ranch went on a year-long road trip,
Well,
and
uh-huh.
we lived out of our truck. We had one of those rooftop tents on top,
Yeah, yeah.
and Chief was in the back of the truck, and our back seat was like our closet. And
That's cool.
wife and I just we went around the whole United States for
Hmm. That's
and
epic.
yeah, during that trip, we got to expose Chief to so many different things, and everyone was like, "Whoa, look at your dog! Like, how does your dog do that? Like, could you
Hmm.
train my dog? Hey, can we trade dogs?" I
That's
started
fun.
hearing that over and over again, and I didn't realize at that point, like, that we had such a valuable dog.
Uh-huh.
And after we started hearing this over and over again, it was like, "Oh, I think, like, I have a skill set that I could offer people," but I didn't know, like, could I actually do that? Like, could I actually turn this into a business? I don't know.
Mhm.
It wasn't until we were in Virginia and I met up with another dog trainer, and I got to see his facility, and he showed me everything, and just yeah, it just really kind of made the switch for me. Where I was like, "I think I
Mhm.
can do this." Um, and that's when I started looking up names of, like, I'm gonna come up with some name for the business.
Mhm.
And I came up with Gung Ho Dog Training. At the time, I wanted to train hunting dogs, and
Mhm.
Gung Ho has that double definition where the definition that you think of it is most likely like, well, you tell me, like, when someone says gung ho, what does that mean?
Well, to be quite honest with you, I didn't know what that meant until you mentioned and you said what that meant. That, for me at least, that was the first time that I've heard of that word.
Okay, gotcha. So most of the time people are like, oh, it just means like excited, enthusiastic, ready for
Mhm.
war. Like, it comes from like a military. Um, perspective. And so that's like our American definition of it.
Mhm.
And in relation to dogs, like I want that in a dog. Like I want the dog to be excited, enthusiastic, like they're engaged in the process and they're enjoying it, right?
Mhm.
It's fulfilling their purpose. Like every dog has a genetic tendency, that
Mhm.
they've been bred to do. And so how can
Yeah.
we fulfill that? And so that's part of that gung ho definition. The
Mhm.
other original definition of gung ho comes from an Asian culture that means working together in harmony.
Mhm.
They would say it in like a factory or like a company of like, hey, gung ho, like, let's work together in harmony as one unit,
Mhm.
unified. We all have different skill sets. Like, let's work together. So when we apply that to the dog training relationship, it's like, let's have a harmonious working relationship, right? I'm not just
Mhm.
like being the boss over you and controlling every little thing you do and you're scared of
Yeah.
me. And it's also not like, hey, like we're disconnected. Like I'm
Mhm.
trying do things with you, but you're just like completely disconnected. You don't care about me. There
Yeah.
needs to be mutual trust. So like I trust the dog and the dog trusts me and we're both working together. Yes, there's some leadership, right? There's a
Mhm.
hierarchy. I'm the one that buys the dog food. So naturally, like there's a
Ye
hierarchy there, but let's have like a harmonious working relationship. And so because I really like words, like meanings of words and names
Mhm.
and once I found that out about gung ho, I was like, yeah, that's going to be the name. Uh,
Nice.
yeah.
And was that something that took a while for you to get to that name, or was it like, did you just kind of find it like instantly? Like it just came to you?
Yeah. It was like maybe a week of
Mhm.
kind of searching domain names and then researching those. There were a couple others. I can't really remember them, but once I got that one, I was like, yeah, this is it.
Nice.
And at the time I was thinking of training gun dogs, like for hunting. I was like, it
Mhm.
was similar to like, yeah, that. But then we came back. So we finished our road trip. We came
Mhm.
back to Ellensburg, where I'm at now, and we lived at my mom's house for about 6 months.
Mhm.
During that time, I went and worked for another dog trainer, and then he also had another trainer working for him. So I like worked under both of them. I was like learning from both of them.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah. So my mom was having a litter of puppies and I was like, this is an opportunity where I could train some dogs. I could get my like first clients. And
Mhm.
I asked all the customers that were buying puppies, I said, would you be interested in having me train your puppy for you at a
Mhm.
cost? And I charged $500 for a month of training.
Okay.
And wait, no, I think it was more than that, maybe. It might have been 2 months.
2 months for like $500?
I'm trying to remember. I think it was I think it was $500 per month. But looking back, like I can't charge that anymore.
Yeah, of course, of course.
Yeah. But four of people decided to throw me a bone and they said yes. So I trained these four puppies and it was awesome. I was
Mhm.
up all night potty training four puppies at once, trying to sleep during the day when the puppies were sleeping. And it was pretty crazy, but I definitely did well. Like all of the customers were happy.
Mhm.
And during that time, I was like, yeah, this for sure like could work.
Mhm.
It's just we were living at my mom's house. So it was like,
Mhm.
how am I gonna pay for a house, like a property, all this
Mhm.
stuff? There was a lot of fear. It's like I don't how do I provide for my family?
Mhm.
And it was pretty scary. And it was like, I don't know if I could do this.
Mhm.
Plus there was a lot of variables of just like, what ifs or whatever. But my wife decided to take a temporary job at the hospital, and that allowed us to purchase a home.
Nice.
And then at that property, I had a vision of what I wanted to do. There's a
Mhm.
2 acre property. There's a pond. There's a garage. There's a house. There's another like building that was like a horse like lean-to kind of, and that's
Yeah.
what I'm gonna remodel into the dog kennel.
Mhm.
And so we bought that property and I just started sharing on social media. I started talking to friends and family and the dogs just started coming in.
Nice.
And my job was just to do a really good job. above and beyond, try to do the best that I could, serve them well, and then get a good review.
Hmm.
Started to build my business, and then all the money started just going back into the business.
Hmm.
And it got to a point where I was surpassing my wife's revenue
Hmm.
and then doubling my wife's revenue. And
Nice,
and
nice,
so she decided to come home. I think it was right. Yeah, we got pregnant with our first kid, and that's when she decided to come home, and she's been home since.
nice.
Yeah, so that was incredible to be able to like start my own business
Mhm.
and provide and do something that I love, that I was passionate about, and I'm helping people. And I didn't mention this before, but before we got Chief, so in between when I had Midnight and Chief,
Mhm.
I got my master's degree in clinical mental health counseling.
Okay. Yeah, I remember you telling me that you got your master's degree. I was wondering in what?
Yeah, so it was in mental health, like counseling, psychology, and I was a counselor for a little bit after, and that's still like a part of my life with like the ministry that we're involved in, and like I have a men's small group that I'm a part of. And so I use that in more of like the spiritual realm of my life with church and our fellowship and community and all of that. However, it's really tied into dog training a lot, because I can now like I can read people when they're working with their dog, and then hearing their story and
Mhm.
seeing what they're struggling with their dog, and I can just start to put all the pieces together.
Yeah, yeah.
And I end up like helping the dog, but then I end up helping the person too. And that's
That's
been
awesome.
really cool, something unique. And that's kind of that deeper level that I was talking about before, of like dogs can reveal quite a bit about us.
Mhm.
And if we're aware of what's going on inside of us, like a lot of dog trainers will talk about energy and like what type of energy are you giving off, and that's affecting the dog. Like there's
Mhm.
me, like there that's true. Like there's a spiritual component to what's going on.
Mhm.
And dogs can like feel what we're feeling. They can sense certain things. There's a lot of body language that we use that dogs are very aware of and humans are not, and vice.
Can you explain one that is like very common?
Sure, like your shortness of breath,
Mhm.
the tempo, like that you're breathing, or like how deep
Yeah.
you're breathing. A lot of humans are not paying attention to that because it's just
Mhm.
nature, but a dog usually is. And then just like tension in your
Mhm.
muscles is another
Mhm.
thing. A lot of times people that get nervous when they're walking a dog that might pull them or might react or something, a lot of times their muscles are like tensing up because they're anticipating like a tense situation. So I'm telling
Yeah.
people like, hey, relax your arm, like relax your shoulder, take a deep breath, stand up tall, like keep your chest up. And people start to be like, wow, like I'm actually feeling more at peace just
Yeah.
working with you. Like, wow, this is cool. Like I can do more than just help the dog.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's awesome. No, I think that's really cool, especially now like that I'm talking to more trainers. I'm starting to realize more how like it's more than just training the dog. It's the communication that you have with the actual person too, with the with the owner. Because so my dog Thor, I was going away for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So I put him like in a boarding and training. And the thing that happened was that we left him there. When we came back, we only got like maybe 20 to 30 minutes with the trainer, and not really, and it was just more towards the dog and not much towards like me or my wife. And that's one of the things that, after talking to a lot of trainers, they're like, oh, like it's a lot of also training and communicating with the owner as well. And that's one thing like that you're also saying on how important that is. And one of the reasons why I wanted to train my dog too, just because I lived in an apartment like at the 10th story, and man, he would have the habit of jumping on people. And some people will like it. They're like, oh, he's so cute, but there's also some people that like are going to work, or like, they're dressed up and they don't want a dog jumping on them. So that's why originally why I had to take him there. But I'm just starting to realize even more now of how important it is to have like that communication with the owner as well. So I think it's really cool what you do there.
Yeah, definitely. And that has progressed throughout my business as well. Like early
Hmm.
on, it was like similar to your situation. It's like drop your dog off. I'll kind of fill you in a little bit when you pick them up. And then
Mhm,
it was, hey, I want you to come and visit at least once while the dog's here. And then
mhm.
like, hey, I need you every week and do like a full hour to an hour and a half with me.
That's cool.
And at that point, I was like, still not enough. Like the owner still needs more. And so
Mhm.
that's when I built the desired dog,
Uh-huh.
my video course. And
Mhm,
I built out the whole entire program in a video course. And now if you sign up, it's like, hey, I'm going to work with your dog, but you're going to be training the whole entire time too, just
mhm.
through the videos. And so you got homework the whole week. Then you come, we do an hour and a half together. Then you go home, you got more homework to do. And that has produced a lot of success because they go home with it forever. Like they get lifetime access to it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's like, hey, you need a refresher on something. I can just
Mhm.
say, like, hey, watch this video. And then they're like, oh, that was exactly what I needed.
Nice, nice. Yeah, bro, if I would have had something like that too, bro, it would have been a whole different story, man. Would have been a whole different story. But no, yeah, that's one of the things that I think is really cool that you do. And I do want to, talk a little bit more about, the desired dog as well. But man, you just said a lot of things that I want to ask like a bunch of questions just because like one of the things was like the fact that you're able to go hiking with your dog or you used to go hiking with your dog, I think that's epic. For me, one of the things that I absolutely love is hiking. And the huge downside about living in Miami, bro, is like there's no mountains here. There's absolutely no mountains here. So I don't get to hike. So it's always when I go to California, I go visit my family, and then I have one of my friends. He's always like, all right, bro, what hike are we doing? What hike are we doing? So it's just more like him and me or me and some friends. And never really like a dog with me. And I think having that bond between like, you going hiking with a dog, I think that's with your dog, I think that would be like super, super, super epic. And then the fact that you did the road trip for a year, was that your idea or was that your wife's idea? Or both?
Yeah, it was both. Probably more me than her. I had to kind of win her over to it, but
Uh-huh.
yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, that's something that my wife was also thinking about. It's like, hey, let's go live in a van for like for like a year or like 6 months and just go travel the US. And then for me, I'm just like, it sounded fun, but then I'm just like, I don't know how fun it would be. But it sounds like really, really fun though to do that. And of course, the biggest issue is always, can I have my dog going with me if he's, yes, I do I did take him to training, and yes, I do take some responsibility because I wasn't as consistent as I should have been. But I feel like I also didn't have like the right guidance when it came to training my dog. But that's something that I have it in one of my targets for this year too, just because as I do work with trainers, but full transparency, like I'm not a dog trainer. I have been listening to YouTube videos. I have been trying to get more involved in the like in the space, get knowledge when it comes to that. But I feel like one of the best things that I can do is really just start from scratch and just train my dog and just like see what everyone is kind of going through and just do it myself. So I think that would be a cool challenge for myself to do. And another thing that you did tell me is that when you mentioned that story, when you told me that story and you shared that Instagram with me, the story about midnight and how you felt guilty just because you didn't have proper training, like that right there, like hit me. That hit me because I also did have a dog. His name was Toby. He passed last year, but he was the first family dog that we've ever had, and he was there with me the entire time. I mean, through breakups, through studying late at night. He would just be like, I'll be in the kitchen, like on the kitchen table. It'd be like 2, 3 in the morning, just me studying for midterms or finals, and he would just be down there and just always just be hanging around.
Mhm.
And that got me thinking too. I'm like, man, I never really like I remember walking him, but me, getting frustrating at him because he was pulling and like looking back, I just felt really, really guilty because I'm just like, man, like, I feel that like don't get me wrong, like he did live a good life, but he could have lived a better one if we had that kind of connection that that you're talking about. So that's also what motivated me too, where I'm just like, all right, like I want to with this dog is have more of that, relationship with him just because I feel like it can always improve. Like, yeah, we play around and we're just, like he has this ball that like this orange ball that he likes to play. And for me, I used to be a soccer player. I used to play soccer all the time. So I'll like play soccer with him while he's like chasing, like trying to take the ball away from me. But that's like kind of the play we get and just very, very basic stuff that I've seen on YouTube. But I definitely do want to take it to the next level just because, yeah, what you just said right there, bro, like it did hit me. So Cody, you said that you had, your business is 2018. That's already 6 years, and I know you're trying to do something, in the online space. What got you to want to, do that pivot?
Yeah, so I was training dogs pretty consistently in my local town and area. And then I started to have people driving from outside of my town. So they would drive from like 2 hours away. And then I got people that drove 4 hours away
Whoa.
and then 6 hours away. And then I had this lady that she wanted to fly her dogs up from California to Washington State to have me train them. And so we did that.
Whoa.
And I was like, this is really awesome. I had another person on the East Coast that wanted to do this same thing. I had a guy, a private jet, like fly in to Ellensburg, and I trained his dog. And then I had a lady in Alaska, and I I built out the video course at this time. And so I started to think through this of like, this is really expensive for these owners to send their dogs to me. And if I could train them at a distance virtually, and get, the same results or even better, that would be great. And so I started to like look into scaling online and had some people, people that would reach out like that, like the lady from Alaska, for example. I was like, why don't we just, instead of sending your dog down, I could save you thousands of dollars and let's just work online together. And that was really cool to see people go through my program, and then I'm coaching them, and now I can impact so many more dogs and their owners and improve
Yeah.
their life and provide more freedom for the dog, have less stress in the home, have more gung ho dogs out there. That was really the goal of creating the desired dog, to be able to, one, increase the value that I'm giving to my local clients, but also be able to broadcast it across the globe. We actually were talking to someone in Europe today. That was
Whoa. Dang, you're
exciting.
international, bro.
We're international, yeah. So it's pretty wild.
It is wild. So like for the person in like in Alaska or the one in Europe, like how did they find you? Was it all through just like social media, or like was it like just like word of mouth? Like yeah, because I think that's wild. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So the one from like Alaska, I have not paid for ads the majority of my whole business. Like I'd say the
Wow.
first 5 years of my business, it was all just local SEO, social media, word of mouth, which I don't say word of mouth anymore. I just say referral only. And so that was really it. But over the years, I've always had in the back of my mind, like I could run ads, but it's going to cost me more money. Would I actually get more in return? I don't know how to do this. It's going to cost me more to pay someone to do it. And it wasn't until like just last year that I tried it out for the first time. So it was like January of last year. I did a month. I spent $1,000 and I got back something from it. But comparing that to like an organic lead,
Yeah,
it was like, man, I'm training the dog for way less. And
yeah.
so I kind of gave up on it. But over the last 6 years, I've been having ad agencies like yourself reaching out to me and saying, like, hey, can I run your ads? And hey, we run ads only for dog trainers. Like, we want to
Mhm,
help you. And I would ask all of them, can you scale like an online business,
mhm,
for courses and stuff? And they would all say no. It's like, no, we can just do like the local leads for you.
mhm.
And then I got an ad from you, and I didn't click on the ad, but I decided to look into it. And so I looked at I sent a message and asked like, hey, are you able to do this for like online courses? And your response, it was a team member of yours, but the response
Mhm,
was not what I had heard from everybody else. And so I
mhm,
was like, yeah, I would definitely love to get on a call. And then hearing about your background before Canine Conversions, you were doing ads for different online businesses at like a very high level. And so I was like, yeah, I for sure want to work with you. And so that's where I'm getting all my leads now. To answer your question, is like all these leads that are coming in now are all because of you. And I would not have been able to do it at the level that you're doing it, obviously, because I tried it before and like I got a little bit, but it wasn't as efficient
mhm.
as it is. I mean, who knows? I mean, I paid $1,000 and then I got one $2,800 client. So you're getting me leads at like four to $8,
Yeah.
you know, and those are turning into really high paying clients, and it's totally doable. Yeah, I really
Yeah.
appreciate all the help you've been.
No, of course, man. A lot, bro. Honestly, a lot is you too, man. Because I can give everyone all the guidance, but not everyone's gonna do the work. You're one of those people who you show up to mostly all, if not all, masterminds. You're always, reaching. You're always, on that self-development and wanting to learn. And as much as I can help out a lot of people and give them that type of guidance, not everyone's gonna do it. Like not everyone's that hungry. Not everyone's that serious. You had the goal where you're like, all right, I want to pivot to like online business. So that's always been one of my goals too, to help, you when it comes to that. Because don't get me wrong, I help everyone, but those who reach more, those who are putting in more of the work, those who are actually doing everything and showing up, those are the people who I like to put a little bit more attention to, and help them out more. Just because, I mean, bro, you've been in this like entrepreneurship, journey. It's not easy, like there is a lot of bumps on the road, but it's just by always having someone, kind of like, just by having like that extra help can really go a long way. And there's been so many times in my life too, and in my journey where people see that I'm putting in the work, because I can say that I do put in the work, and then that I do try, because when I have a mindset on something, like I'm all in, you know and that's something that I see you being the same way as well. So that's a for you, like I see you going like big places when it comes to this. And the fact that you keep telling me like, hey, we just made another sale, we made another sale. Hey, I woke up to this sale, like that brings me a lot of joy. So a lot has to do with you too, man. So give you props for that.
Yeah, for sure. It's been great like working with you. I'm really happy that we were able to come to a good agreement, and yeah, we're going for it. That's for sure. We're helping a lot of dogs, so it's really
Yeah.
cool. Yeah. I'm curious for you, like what made the transition from just like working with online businesses to now like having canine conversions, like you're focused on helping dog trainers.
So that's a good question. For me, I've always loved dogs. So growing up, we didn't really have dogs because my mom, when she was younger, she got bit by a dog pretty bad. So she's always been afraid of dogs. And we've always lived in, growing up, we lived in like an apartment. So we didn't really have a home or a backyard to own a dog. And then, my family, they eventually did. My dad, he worked like crazy hours working two jobs, and he finally was able to get himself like a house. And then one time we were like, I remember it was 4th of July. We went to Santa Monica Beach. From there we went to LA Galaxy game, and then once we came back, like our house was like robbed. Like truck was gone, like they broken into it, and like they stole like a bunch of stuff. And at
Wow.
that, yeah, like at that time, it was when my dad was like, all right, we need to get a dog, at least for, he wasn't like trained a protection dog or anything like that, but like if someone sees a dog outside, like, because we had a gate and they just open up the gate. But if someone sees a dog outside or inside, like maybe, if we had a dog, maybe the outcome would have been different. So that's when we decided to get a dog, and that dog was the dog that I was telling you, Toby. And from there, it was just my mom got more comfortable with dogs. And then one time I came home and there was another dog that my dad had like saved, because they were gonna put her like in the animal shelter just because they didn't want her anymore. And my dad was like, "What do you mean? Like that's like you're really gonna put that dog just because you don't want her anymore?" And my dad's like, "No, I'm gonna take her." So then my dad took her, and then we have two dogs, and then eventually we have three dogs. And then my brother he had a pug. And honestly, bro, at that time we had two female dogs and one male dog. And I don't know if this dog heard or overheard that he was gonna get neutered, but he did his business. Next day he got neutered, and then like a few weeks later, one of our dogs, we noticed that she was carrying some puppies because she started getting bigger, and then we
Yeah.
noticed with we noticed that with another dog too.
No
So
way.
yeah, so we had these two dogs had puppies a week apart,
Hmm.
and At one point, I'm not gonna lie, like we had like 17 dogs.
Wow.
It's definitely a lot of work, at least for my mom. She was the one that would take care of them. And then I don't know, ever since we just kind of started working, like we just been a dog family and always had, dogs, and goes back to, having my dog Toby just being with me like all the time. Family was always a dog. And then I've always had like a passion when it comes to helping, wanting to help dogs. I just didn't know how to. I was started running ads, working with, a lot of like high level, individuals. Like these guys are like crazy, and it was cool and everything, but I still felt a little like, I don't know, like I wanted to help more, or wanted to do more, And I remember one time, I mean, I was living in here in Florida. My whole family in California, so I didn't really have any family here. My best friend, he was my roommate, and he was just we had opposite schedules. So he was working like at a like at a bar. So I didn't really see him because the time that I'll be awake, he'll be sleeping, and then he'll be working at night. So I didn't really see him. So I did feel a little lonely. So that's when I decided to go to the animal shelter and see if I can adopt a dog. I went there, and there was a lot of dogs, and I was talking to like one of the volunteers, and they told me that, yeah, that a lot of these dogs get, surrendered just because of like behavioral issues.
Hmm. Yeah.
And for me that was shocking, And then later I heard, or someone was telling me, that a lot of dogs get euthanized because of behavioral issues as well. Like once I've heard those kind of things, I was like, okay, I can seriously, I want to help out in this area. And by then I already had like my first client that was a dog trainer, and the results were just like, crazy. We built the offer, we built the leads, and they had the sales system, and they were making, 30K the first month, and then like 50K the first month. And I'm just like, whoa, like we're actually helping, like, a lot of people get clients and get dogs trained. And that's kind of what pushed everything. And that's when I decided to make like my transition to really just helping dog trainers, and really just helping as many dogs. I mean, our motto is, for all the dogs. And yeah, I mean, that's how we just did the transition to that, to just, helping, trainers as much as possible, just because I do strongly believe that if I can help as many dog trainers get clients, then we can help as many dogs get trained. And if we can help as many dogs get trained, that reduces the chances of them getting placed in the animal shelter, or even worse, euthanized.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, there's a lot of dogs out there. If they had training, it would have been different. And as
Yeah.
humans, like we're responsible for that. Like we have decided to domesticate this animal, and
Mhm.
so now we're responsible to take care of them. And we've also
Yeah.
bred dogs to a certain point where like they wouldn't survive on their own. And
Hmm.
so like we truly are responsible taking care of these dogs. And I think there's a really big problem out there that you're being a help, to the issue. So that's awesome. And you said you've ran like some ads to help dogs get adopted and stuff.
So yeah, I've run ads before to try to help dogs get adopted. It's something that I definitely want to start doing a little bit, more. The story behind that is that one time, I remember it was like, it was like a late afternoon, and it was like a gloomy day too. And then I was scrolling on Instagram, and I followed this page, like the Humane Society here in Plantation, or in Broward County where I live. And I saw a dog that was there for more than 6 months. And the video that they shared was just very heartbreaking. And they said that was like the longest, resident there, which I know that there's other dogs in other places that have been there for like, but this one right at that time, they was there for 6 months. I tried contacting the location, like, hey, like, can I just run ads to this? Like I'm not asking to get paid. I'm not asking, to, like to get like acknowledged or anything like that. I just generally just want to help this dog find a forever home. And yeah, they wouldn't pick up. I would email them, and they wouldn't really, respond back. I would leave voice messages, but, like I wouldn't really get an answer back. Like, sure, maybe I should have, worked a little bit more on my elevator pitch, because they probably thought that I was trying to like, like sell my services, but no, I didn't really have luck. And then one day I just like, say whatever. I'm just gonna, use their video. I'm just gonna run it through my dog's account and make it seem to like, hey, like this is my friend that needs to be adopted and needs to find a forever home, kind of angle. So I did that, and then there was really no way of like, of tracking because I'm a numbers guy and I run the ads and there's a lot of tracking. But since I didn't really have permission from there, I couldn't really, track certain things like certain metrics. So all I could do is just get exposure. That's like the only thing, just exposure out there, on getting this, get as many eyeballs as possible to try to get this dog, try to find him his forever home. And yeah, I did that. And then every day, I would like it'll be like every hour, I'll just refresh the page to see if that post was still available or it was taken down. And I'll just do that like so many times. And then one of those days, 2 days later, I just kept doing it. And all of a sudden it's like, say, page unavailable. So, and then like later on, they had posted on their Instagram, like, oh, it finally got like adopted after like 2 days of me running. Now, do I have full confirmation that if it was me? I don't know for sure, but there was just like a lot of like eyeballs that went into that ad that I placed, and then I did the exact same thing with another dog, and then the exact same thing. 2 days later, they got adopted, and I tried to continue to reaching out, and I even went in person, but the person like was in charge of like the marketing, like they weren't there, and but yeah, that's what I've been doing. That's what I wanted, want to explore more and do more. And even though I do feel like I am helping dogs here at Canine, I want to help more with dogs. And for me, that's kind of one of my goals, is to just have like a nonprofit and just have, help as many dogs get adopted that way. I know that I need a little bit more time, and dude, trust me, like almost like every day it's in my back of my mind. I need to do it. I need to do it. So that's why I see a page where like, oh, this dog needs, help. Like you can donate. Like I'm always donating,
Yeah.
because I feel like this is something that I should be doing, but it's just more organizing myself a little bit more and freeing my time to try to do this. Because as a business owner, I mean, it's something that's a little hard to do other things when my priority is like my family, my wife, and then any little time that I have is just kind of dedicated to her. And because a lot of my majority of time is working on canine conversion, and helping grow and helping trainers, and just try to make the best experience for anybody who joins. But I know that's something in the back of my head, and that's something that I have to, start doing, soon, just because that's where my passion really, is, and where my end goal is kind of is as well.
Yeah, I love that. That's such a good story, being able to help them out without them really even knowing. Did you ever get in contact with them?
No, like I went there a few months ago, and then like every time I go, it's just like the person in charge was just like the marketing person in charge, like they weren't there.
Huh.
And I would go a few times, but I know that's something that I just have to continue being consistent, and just kind of go and seeing if I can, talk to someone.
But
Just
they don't
to
even know. Like they don't even know it's available.
I know, no, it's crazy, but yeah, that's something that I definitely am gonna explore more and want to do, just because I mean, man, that feeling that I got when that page wasn't available anymore, and then they weren't at the animal shelter, and the fact that I was able to get the eyeballs out there and the attention of the people, because I was only targeting like a 25-30 mile radius of the location of the animal shelter, and just trying to get the word out. So that was definitely a very rewarding feeling.
I bet.
Um, yeah, yeah. So yeah, so I mean, just passion has always been dogs. I mean, I honestly do think that they're, angels sent from heaven. Like that's what
Mhm.
I would say. Like I honestly think that. I look at my dog and I'm just like, man, he's such an angel. Um, but yeah, I mean, that's kind of the reason why I just did the transition to working with working, trying to help out, dogs in the dog industry and dog niche. And I just think it's like really, really, really cool to see, what me and my team has been able to do.
Mhm.
Mhm.
That's awesome. I love it.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, man. I mean, it's been quite a journey. We're into business. What, Cody? So for you, being a business owner and pivoting to the online space, because I know you know running your local business versus running an online business is completely different. What would you what and I know there's other trainers out there that want to do something similar to what you're doing. What do you feel like is the biggest obstacle that you've been able to like that you've been facing when it comes to that, and how have you been able to like overcome that?
Yeah, I think there's just obstacles like everywhere. So
Mhm.
a lot of the overcome really comes from your mindset and being determined to do something and sticking to it. I think if you have like an organic following online already as a foundation, that's going to really help you out.
Hmm.
If I would have tried to do this when I first got started, it just would have taken a lot longer.
Hmm.
But within the last, what, 4.5 months or 5 months, like we've been able to grow like every single month to where like there's 12 people on my online team. And
Yeah.
that's, to me, that's like so crazy. Like having virtual assistants and, they're like holding people accountable to like go through their lessons and like all of that. And then, so I think it really helped me to have like a solid business that had local, where we're providing service. And so that was able to help financially just like keep the business going. It gave me some freedom to step away because I do have two trainers that are training
Hmm.
and I could step away and focus on the online. So you need to have that there. And then someone like you to be able to help that has all of that experience because there's so much that goes into online that it's not just like posting social media content. Like I
Hmm.
have a whole website that I've built myself, and then we have the whole CRM and automations and email and texting and virtual, video calls like this. And so there's just like obstacles and hurdles everywhere. That's like been my experience. And so when I meet them, I just keep going. I like try to figure out how to do it, and having a coach like to help, other people that are experienced is super helpful.
Hmm.
But it doesn't, at the same time, like it also doesn't take much. Like if you had a small group of people, like you could just reach out to people individually and see if they wanted coaching. And like that could be a small snowball that starts to build.
Hmm.
So there's lots of ways to go about it. For me, it's twofold of why I want to do it. One is I want to be able to impact more dogs and dog owners and help them. And then two, I want to be able to go back to that location freedom, similar to like when we were traveling for a year.
Yeah.
I was working remotely during that time and doing accounting.
Got it.
And I really enjoyed that. And so
Uh-huh.
I would love to get back to that point to where we
Hmm.
can like homeschool our kids. We can also travel. We can do like mission work. We can help different people and go and show my kids like a lot of the world. At the same time, I could still be helping dogs wherever I go and
Yeah.
also helping people online. That's kind of a vision and a why behind, why I want to do this. But
Hmm.
yeah, the obstacle is mostly just in your mind because it's definitely doable and it's going to be hard and discouraging if, things don't go right for like multiple months on end. But once they start to, happen, it's like, okay, like a little breath of fresh air and we're getting to a place where we're, going to be more sustainable. And that's really cool to see. Yeah, it might get to a point where like our local business now duplicates too to another place. Like I have other trainers in other states that are interested in me like helping coach them, and like that's something that I'm thinking about doing, of duplicating what I did from the beginning, where I went from zero to 100, 6-figure business, all from working from home.
Hmm.
And if you have a passion about dogs and you know a tiny bit about training, like I can come in and I can increase that amount of training with my courses and coaching. And then I can also help you build the business, from
Hmm.
scratch. So that's another thing that's on the horizon of like that I could be doing and that I want to do. There's a lot to it, but to answer your question, like there's hurdles everywhere. There's too many to count. It's more about just the mindset of keep going,
Yeah.
follow
No,
follow the passion.
I agree with you 1,000%. I mean, I feel like a lot of people don't realize it's all a mindset, and don't get me wrong, I do talk to a lot of people where their mindset is not in the right place. So they're like, hey, I want to start a business, or hey, I want to, do what you're doing, or I want to start this project. And they're like, any advice that you can give me? I'm like, yeah, start with your mindset. Like, you start, in self-development, start feeding yourself, the right information, because things will get hard. Things will absolutely get hard. I've been in the internet marketing game running ads since 2017, 2016. That's when I got introduced to everything.
Okay.
And from then to now, there's been a lot of ups, a lot of down. Like, there was a point where, I mean, I was able to buy myself a one-way ticket from LA to Miami, live on the 44th floor because of like, taking a chance and just, really working on the, on the ads and like another ad agency that I was involved with, with another affiliate company. So it was really doing really, really good. And then all of a sudden, like it crashed, like it just went down. So I
Mm.
went, like being, experiencing like, that kind of money to completely starting all over, which that would have really broken a lot of people. And they would have been like, like, hey, maybe this is for me. A lot of people that I know that came with me to Miami as well, like other one went back home, and just didn't really restart. They just started like other things and just jumping from one trip to another. But for me, I'm just like, all right, cool, whatever. I just gotta I did it once, I can do it again, and just starting all over again. And that's what I feel, that mindset is everything. Because if my mindset would not have been where it was, then I could have easily just been, all right, I'm just gonna, I tried, it didn't work for me, and that's it. And then essentially, you and I wouldn't been having this conversation, and I would have been able to find my passion of helping, dogs.
Yeah. Yeah.
But because of the mindset, that's where no matter what happens, you can continue to, keep pushing forward. I mean, look at Alex Ramosi. I mean, he's like extremely, extremely successful, and he had so many failed businesses. And it's all because of like his mindset that kind of kept him, moving forward.
Yeah.
So,
I'm not wired for the other option, like the W-2. And technically I'm technically a W-2 of my own S corp, but it's like I'm not wired for that. I
mhm.
definitely tried it and I had to retire from that. So
Now look at you, bro. Now look at have your business with, you made enough money so where your wife doesn't have to work at the hospital anymore. Did she help you in the business, or or she more just like,
we have another business that we started, and so she manages that, and um, she mostly, stays home, takes care of our kids, and
Mhm.
but yeah, we're able to have two businesses going, and we were able to fund the second business with the dog training. That's another thing. There's a lot that you can accomplish with training dogs, and it's a high ticket skill set that not a lot of people have, and it's very valuable because people see their dogs as family.
Yeah, yeah. No, I agree. I mean, I don't have any kids right now, but I do call my dog or my son.
Hmm. Yeah, there you go. See,
Yeah, and I do agree with you that a lot of people who love dogs think of the dogs as family. But yeah, so if someone, would want to learn how to train dogs or just their dog, you have that desired course that kind of teaches them that, right?
yeah,
Can you?
I was looking something up real quick because I wanted to share it with you. But anthropomorphism, it's like a weird word, but it basically means like when you treat a dog like your own species. So a lot of people treat their dog like a human, and
Mhm.
then like leads to a lot of problems. And but there's like that aspect of seeing your dog as family. Like it's true. Like they're so close, they give us so much love. Like they, scientifically lower our blood pressure just by having a pet in the house. And so there's a lot of good things to it. And then there's also the side, this is me as a dog trainer coming out, where it's like we take it too far,
Uh-huh.
and we treat the dog like fully like a human, and then we got these behavior issues and all this stuff.
So,
But yeah,
so it's curiosity. So what's taking it too far?
it depends on the dog and the
Okay.
age and the background, but a lot of the time, like having your dog sleep in your bed, like is not a good idea.
Okay, my
Like
dog
just
doesn't sleep on the bed, so I'm good there.
yeah, and this is just off of like I'm purely speaking from just experience. Like
Yeah, yeah,
me
yeah.
personally, I've trained over 1,000 dogs, and when we have dogs that struggle with anxiety or codependency, I ask like, "Where does your dog sleep?" And they say like the dog sleeps in the bed with me. So
Mhm.
I'm not like 100% against it, but I'm pretty high percentage against it. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah. I wanted to ask that question to see if like, do I fall in that category? But no, yeah, we're big into like not having our dog, sleep in the bed. He would try to get into the bed and we're like, no, off. And then he does listen and he'll just get off. But I mean, there was, I'm not gonna lie, there was like a few times that we're like, all right, cool, he just got a bath, he smells good. Let's just put like a blanket over there and then he can sleep there. But I mean, even if he wanted to, he just goes on and off, you know?
Yeah, keep you up
But
all night. Your quality of sleep
yeah,
goes down. So
exactly, exactly.
it gets bad when they start resource guarding and you can get bit and it'll lead to unwanted behaviors. But
Hmm.
yeah, there's lots of little things that if we just kind of hold a standard for a dog, like we can provide a higher quality of life for them. And they do enjoy the structure. They enjoy the leadership and the structure. Like it actually gives them more peace from the way that I watch dogs and their body language and how they interact. Like if you come in with like giving them a job, give them leadership, like you provide them a higher quality of life, and now you're able to manage their behaviors too. And then they're not ending up in the shelter like what we were talking about. So
Yeah. No, that's cool. And I mean, you're definitely doing a good job. Train over 1,000 dogs. That's impressive. And now you're gonna be able to do it at scale with your online, with your online program. So that's cool. Are you thinking to completely just pivot to just online training, or are you gonna hire like other trainers to focus on that, run that side of the business while you're focusing on this and able to travel and do all your stuff? Like, how does that look like?
yeah, I don't know. A lot of the local training, like I'm providing income for my employees. So
Mhm.
there's that aspect to it as well. It's like as a business owner, I'm not just here like I'm not just trying to make money for myself. Like now I'm providing jobs for other people.
Mhm.
And so there have been, times over the years where I was like, I'm done. Like I'm burnt out. I'm gonna be done with the business. And but having staff like has been super helpful. And so I'll keep the local going as long as there's a good fit for it.
Mhm.
I would love to be remote, as I said, but then maybe a season comes again where like it's local again. I would love to like duplicate my methodology and the system that I've found because I do think it is unique, and that's part of why I created my own program. Is I've watched a lot that's out there and looked at a lot of research, listened to a lot of different trainers. I'm always open to ideas and like I don't have it all figured out. I'm always trying to learn more. And there's all these boxes that we put trainers into. And I have really just gone through a process of discerning, interacting with the dogs, interacting with the clients. I'm not just someone that's just online that has my own personal dog. Like actually, I've been hands on with over 1,000 dogs. And it wasn't until I added those numbers up that I was like, oh my gosh, like I have something to offer now. I feel like I'm just getting started. Like I still feel like I have so
Yeah.
much more to learn, but I didn't want to scale online without having the experience to back up, what I'm teaching, if that
Yeah,
makes
yeah.
sense. So I
No, I mean,
still feel like I need more teaching and more learning, and there's different departments of dog training, different classes of like scent detection and service work and all these things. So there's a ton more I can learn, but I do feel like I'm at a place now with just obedience training where, yeah, let's scale that online. And yeah, maybe that will just turn into like fully online. I would love to get it to where that's optional. Right now,
mhm,
we're still in the growth stage because I've been with you 5 months now. So
mhm.
still very early. Yeah.
That's exciting. You said that you wanted to, travel more. What would be the one place that you would want to take your family?
South America is like on the mind for some
Oh,
reason, but
do you know what part?
I have a friend, one of my best friend, he travels a lot and he spent a lot of time in Colombia. And so we've
Mm,
talked about that. I've done quite a bit of like overseas mission work
uh-huh.
and just helping people build stuff and post like events like earthquakes and stuff like that, help with that type of thing. I've used some of my counseling stuff on trips. And So I would love to expose my kids to that, just to have a global perspective, having different cultures to be able to see. And people view dogs differently in every culture. That would be very fascinating for me at this point in my life, to learn more about dogs in different parts of the world and see how people interact with them differently. And the training might be different depending on, yeah, there's a lot of variables, but yeah, South America comes to mind just off the top of my head. But really anywhere, it kind of depends on where God would like lead me and my family, and we would try to be obedient to that.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's awesome. You know what part of Colombia? I mean, my wife is from Colombia, so I've been going to Colombia recently for the past like two years, more than I've ever really gone to Colombia. I think I've been to three, four times already, maybe. But yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, I love where I'm from, and I love our community here. We have great friends and family. It just, the cold winters, I'm at that age where I'm like, I'm getting close to 40, and like I'm I'm like ready to not be cold. Yeah, I'm 37 now. So
Like, dude, you're not like 37. I honestly thought we were like the same age.
how old are you?
I'm 33.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's a compliment, I guess, for me. So
No, 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 that's pretty cool, man. That is actually pretty cool. And I mean, I know you're a believer of God. We've had this conversation, with God, and I think that has been one of the coolest conversation when I've had with with anybody in a long time. Just because I'm the same way. I'm just like wherever God takes me. Like, yeah, I do have a lot of plans, and yeah, I do want to do a lot of things, but at the end of the day, it's all in God's plan, and wherever He takes me, I'm like, I'll be good.
yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, for sure. We could do a whole nother podcast on just talking about God and dogs, and like that whole aspect of training. And it's like a whole nother spiritual journey that like I've gone on from being a dog trainer. And honestly, like dog training has just exposed a lot in me and has increased my relationship with the Lord. So it's been I don't think it's been by accident. I think the Lord has had his hand in this whole entire business, and I really have to give him like all the credit for my success. And I've, literally put blood, sweat, and tears and prayers into this thing, and I just give all the glory to God. So,
That's awesome. I Now you got me very curious, bro, to seeing how that journey, because you mentioned something how you just mentioned how we could do a whole different podcast and have a whole different conversation based on, the relationship you had with God and dog training. So I'm very curious to see how that looks like. Can you give me an example? Like, can you just elaborate a little bit more on that? Like, yeah, we can definitely do like another podcast
yeah,
because I'm pretty sure this is not gonna be the only podcast we're gonna do. We're gonna, definitely have way more. I mean, Elon Musk had like freaking five, six different podcasts with Joe Rogan. I just listened to the other one today.
yeah,
So I know we're definitely gonna have more, but I'm just very curious because the curiosity is probably gonna kill me. I'm just like, I'm just gonna end up texting you or calling you like, bro, like, what do you mean by this? But yeah, can you just like elaborate on a little bit more on
sure.
that?
So it comes back to like relationship, and we have a relationship with God, whether it, this obviously comes from like my worldview and my perspective, like theologically, but like, that there is one God that created everyone,
Mm-hmm.
and he uses us as if like as that as truth. Like me, I know there's people out there that this is like super controversial. So
Mm-hmm.
but like this is from my perspective, like that is the truth. And like my experience, like with supernatural experiences, miracles, like hearing from God, like all these things, like I have these experiences in my life that I cannot deny that God
Mm-hmm.
is. And so because of that foundation, I have this theological perspective of my relationship with God, and he's above me. Like he is way above me. Like I am
Mm-hmm.
not him. Like I would not exist without him. Everything that I have uh, is a gift from him. And
Mm-hmm.
so I have to look to him for leadership. And he gives me so much grace, and he teaches me, and he disciplines me. And there's this relationship of love that I do have a free will of like I can give him the finger and I can like turn my back and walk away, or I can choose like to engage and to like just receive like the work that's been done on the cross. And
Mm-hmm.
so when you're thinking about that relationship and like this process that's called sanctification, of like gradually kind of like getting better and better, and like you're getting closer to being like God. Obviously, it doesn't take any sort of work to receive salvation. It has nothing to do with what you do. It's just receiving like a gift of grace. So like he did all the work, but without receiving that gift, like we were out of luck. Like we're not headed in a good direction. So there's all this theology that goes on with our relationship with God and him as like a father figure, him as a counselor, him as a friend,
Hmm.
and we can relate to him in different ways. So then we look at our relationship with the dog, and we have like we either purchased the dog or we adopted the dog into our home, and then we pay for the dog's food, we provide them a place to sleep, we give them structure, we give them rules, and the dog still has their own free will of whether or
Hmm.
not they want to work with us or not. And that can depend a lot on how we treat the dog. So do we have a pure character and a pure form of leadership? So if a lot of us have like a bad theology of God, to be honest, like we don't have an accurate picture of who he really is.
Hmm.
And as I've reflected on that and like studied that and had to like let go of things that I thought God was like, but actually like the scripture teaches us differently, then I start relating to a dog and trying to be more like him. And then my relationship starts getting better with the dog.
Whoa, whoa.
And it's just like, okay, so now I'm learning more about myself. I'm learning more about the dog. I'm learning more about God and the
Hmm.
relationship in between. And then because I do have a personal relationship with God, it's so deep. And just like every time I try to keep talking, then it disconnects on us. But there's a lot of truth in there. I have found that because of my personal relationship with God and my ability to communicate, when I'm working with the dog and like I don't know what to do, I
Hmm.
can be still and I can listen, and I can ask God like, "Hey, what would you do in this situation?" And I've had moments where I'm like, I literally don't know what to do with this dog. And
Hmm.
then I'm like still and I pray and I ask and I listen. And then like an idea just comes into my mind and I try it and then it works. And it's like, okay, like there's something there. Like the Lord has like walked me through a process of like developing me as a trainer.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I am in the middle of a process right now of like getting a certification from an organization. And but to be honest, like my education has really come down to like my actual experience with the dogs, and
Hmm.
then my relationship with the Lord is like that's such a big part of my life that it's been in the whole process the whole time. And I pray for my clients, and I've had some really deep conversations with them because I'll share about this with them if I feel like it's appropriate.
Hmm.
And yeah, we've had some tears, and I have the counseling training as well to like help people. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
really feel like it's like just my gifting and my purpose. It's like all getting wrapped together. And as I go through life and through different seasons, like God's just continuing to refine me and use me in different ways. And now I'm talking to you on a podcast about the Lord and about dogs. Like it's just ongoing, and I'm just along for the ride. Like wherever he takes me, like I want to be obedient. I want to say yes. And because I have a really good relationship like with him. And I know that he's good and that he loves me and that he literally gave everything for me. And so that's like it in a nutshell.
No, that's all of that you just said is definitely deep. It's a lot to take in because I mean, I mean, yeah, I'm definitely without words right now to be quite honest with you, just because like everything is so deep and I've never in my mind like even crossed like ever crossed my mind how the relationship with God and dog training could come together, in a way that you just put it. So I think that's very inspiring. I think that's really amazing. I feel like a lot of people nowadays they don't have that kind of relationship with God, or they're too afraid to even, kind of speak on it. Um, for me, even for me, like I've always been in this weird place where like I've always believed, I never really considered myself, and you and I have had this conversation before. I've never really considered myself any part of like religion, just because I don't really like that word. But do I believe in a higher power? Absolutely. Do I believe that, this higher power was, this God was, helping me during my toughest times? Because, when I had that first business and then I moved here and then lost everything and I just refused to like go back home and just, just fight through it and start all over again and go through all those obstacles, not knowing where, like, if I'm gonna make, rent next month and like, just trying to, do whatever I can to like, to just, kind of survive and just try to do it on my own. And the reason why I was able to, do all that, it was because I did have God on my side. And I was never really the type of person who would ask for like specific things. It wasn't until I was going to be a godfather for the first time for my nephew, and I had to do it like this with the Catholic Church because that's what I grew up with, and I had to talk to like go to a class and for like I think like an hour, but that time that I went, it was just me, so it was more a conversation with me and the priest, and it was cool, like it was definitely a lot of eye opening. One of the things that really stuck to him is like, yeah, he listens, you can ask him whatever and he will listen and he will grant you that. To me, that was like an eye opener because till then I never really asked for anything. The only thing I've asked was always my family, make sure they're good, my loved ones, like just make sure they're taken care of, and just the only thing I would ask for me was just give me the strength to like just never give up, because I'm the same way as you. Like, I don't believe in like the 9 to 5. I don't want to, like I do strongly feel like I can do way more in life. So I will always ask, just give me the strength. That's it. That's all I ask. Just give me the strength. Just give me the strength to, keep going, keep pushing, even when things don't look like they're gonna get better. Just help me through it. And I can confidently say that, the reason why I'm here and the reason why I'm able to help a lot of dogs, a lot of people, and be in this position was because or is because of God, and just because, you know, I yeah, I just always felt like he was always like with me, even at like my toughest time. And that was my biggest thing. Cause I remember my mom, she's very into like church, and she told me once, like, yeah, a lot of people will seek God when they're in like in their bad times. Not a lot of people seek God when their things are going good. And for me, I've always just kind of had that back in my mind of just like God has always been like never religion, more towards like believing a higher power. And even when things were great, I was like, the first time I went to Miami, like so grateful to have this opportunity. I mean, growing up, we never really had the money. So the fact that, I moved into a 44th floor with an insane view, I never even knew those kind of views existed. I was so thankful to the Lord because I'm like, you made this happen, like, thanks to you, I'm able to experience something like that, been able to help my parents, been able to do all that stuff. And even when things went down, I was still, not the type of person like, oh, it's because of you that I lost everything. Like, no, absolutely not. It's just keep leaning towards, to you and kind of giving me the strength to push forward. So I think that what you do is amazing. What you just shared right now too is amazing, and I think that's something that I feel like a lot of people don't really talk about. So I'm glad that that we're able to talk about this on this podcast. I think that's pretty cool.
For sure. Thanks for asking. I mean, yes, there's a lot to it, and it's a big part of my journey too. And so,
Nice. No, awesome, awesome. So, okay, Cody. So I know pivoting a little bit more towards, your online course. So this online course, right? This, if people want to train their dogs or want to, learn how to, just train dogs in general, this would be the desired dog, right?
yeah, the desired dog is for dogs that are 6 months and older, and it's
Okay.
full basic obedience training, like from like beginning all the way to like you have a reliable dog. So it's really designed for people who are frustrated when their dog doesn't listen and they don't know what to do, and like the course gives them step by step, this is what you should do, and it helps them achieve the desired dog that they had originally hoped for.
Gotcha. Nice. And what else besides the video do they get? Just because I know you mentioned something about how you have, a VA helping you, helping people go through the program. Can
Yeah.
you elaborate more on that?
Yeah. So we do have like the desired puppy, and there's a couple other little courses that we have too. But when people sign up for my online course, I don't want them to just buy an idea. and
Mhm.
then not have like the success of the experience. And so we have an assigned course accountability trainer. So if you sign
Nice.
up, it's like we assign someone to you and they're going to keep you accountable. So you like they check in with you every week and they ask you to set goals and then they
Mhm.
hold you to those goals. Also, the course is broken into 8 different modules at this point, and at the end of each module, there's a graduation test. So you can submit videos, like it asks you, like, hey, we want to see videos of these 6 things. And then you submit those videos, and then
That's cool.
those get sent to me, and then I review them, and then I either pass or need improvement.
Mhm.
And I give you feedback on how you're doing. And that just gives you like the confidence of like, okay, I got that checked off. Now I can move on to the next module. And it's all built in a way that I would personally work with the dog. Like
Uh-huh.
if I got the dog, I would start at module 1 and I'd work my way through. And so it's pretty cool. Like it's a really cool process, and it's really cool to see people who I've never met in person, and they go through the course and then they show me this video of like a well-trained dog, and they're talking to the dog the same way that I would. And I'm like, wow, that's fantastic. Like you did a really good job. And we were like, we have people that are in wheelchairs and like they're training their dog. There's yeah, a lot of different cases that don't like fit the mold. And so I
Mhm.
also created the course so that you can navigate and customize it for your dog. It's not like just a cookie cutter do this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It like I give you different routes, and like there's different opinions on like should you use a prong collar with the dog or not. And so I teach you like, well, if you are going to, like here's everything you need to know about it and how to use it. And then if you're
Mhm.
not going to, this is how you don't use it.
Mhm.
And so I give people that option, and I think a lot of people enjoy that because they might feel comfortable training their dog in a certain way. And so I still stick to the path that I think is best in the way to
Mhm.
like communicate with the dog and to keep like positive reinforcement like super high. But like I'm a balanced trainer. And so like I provide people with the options to do those things. Like if you're going to use an e-collar with a dog, like again, super controversial topic in the dog training
Yeah,
world.
yeah.
And I went for a period of time where I used the e-collar a lot. And then I went through a period of time where I was like, I'm done with that. Like, I don't
Mhm.
agree with it. Like, I'm going to do no e-collar for a long time. And then now I'm at a place where like I found a way to integrate the e-collar in a very gentle way,
Mhm.
with a specific type of setup. And it's really successful for certain contexts. And so, like, I'm not going to rule it out, but I explain that in the course and I give people those options. And I try to really work with people to make it to where they can reach their goals that they have with their dog.
That's awesome. No, that's a pretty good it sounds like a pretty good program. And where would so if anybody listening, where can they get this program? How can they, get access to this? Because I mean, the value that you're providing there, I think is awesome, especially how they're able to submit their videos and you pretty much say, hey, you pass or you gotta redo it again. That
Yeah.
accountability they have, I think that's super powerful. And honestly, I think that's a lot of the things that a lot of, online courses, fail to have is that accountability. They just, hey, here's the videos and that's it. And you never hear from like the person ever again, So the fact that yours is different and yours has that accountability where they have homework that they need to complete, not only complete, but kind of pass those quizzes, too. I think that's extremely valuable.
Yeah, and they can get a certification from us if they go through the whole thing and pass all the modules. And we do have an online training community that you get plugged into, and so you can talk to everybody that's working with their dog. And then I do offer like uh, group coaching as well as one-on-one coaching, and so you
Mhm.
can get like you can get a consistent like hour of my time if you want to, and like I can just work with you, like we're talking right now. And so there's
Mhm.
different levels that people can do, but as you know, like dog training can be pretty expensive, and
Mhm.
especially in-person dog training is really expensive. So we are a much more affordable option for the value that we're giving. Like we're giving
Yeah.
a huge package at a price that like you just it's a no-brainer, like really at the end
Mhm.
of the day. And so I did want to do something special like for your audience because you've been able to help me do this. And so it just didn't make sense if I didn't give something back. And so what I wanted to do for like anybody that's listening to this podcast, like specifically because of Jorge and like what he's done to help me, is I want to do a scholarship that it's like a canine conversion scholarship, or we call it the Jorge scholarship. It's basically, I want to give you $500 scholarship, and that's going to go directly towards my program. And so all you got to do is like look us up on Instagram. It's Gung Ho Dog Training, UNGHO Dog Training, and just send me a message. Just send me a message on Instagram, and this is going to be the code that we're going to use. It's going to be CC 500. So CC for Canine Conversions, and then $500 scholarship. CC 500, just send me a message on Instagram and we'll get you hooked up with our scholarship. And how does that sound?
I mean, that sounds amazing. And for everyone listening out there, I think that's a pretty cool scholarship that he's giving away, especially with all the value that you're going to get into this, you're going to get in this program. So if you're someone who is in need of dog training, want to learn all it takes about, how to train a dog, Cody is definitely, your man. He's the guy, and he's trained over 1,000 dogs. And if you look at his reviews on Google, he has like a perfect 5 star. I've never really seen that before. So that's one of the things that I look up to. I'm like, man, that looks cool. Definitely take advantage of that scholarship. And yeah, Cody, I mean, I appreciate you being on this podcast, and it's been a lot of fun. But I'm really excited to have another one with you and dive deeper into, conversations that we were kind of, briefly having. And yeah, thanks again, brother.
You bet. We'll talk soon.